you guys. Yeah, it's still morning, so I don't know. Not noontime yet, we're pretty close to it. I want to read for you from this book, a piece entitled The Unjust Penalty, from May 29th, 1992. As we write this, looking out of the window in our home, we have a view of a beautiful and special flower, a late blooming Easter lily. The lily is sheltered beneath the branches of a huge old live oak. The stately boughs of the tree are draped with long flowing gray beards of Spanish moss. The ancient old tree is hollow, and it provides a home and a safe haven from roaming house cats for a family of gray squirrels which run, hop, feed, and play around the lily upon the lawn. The whole picture is a stunning example of southern springtime loveliness. The lily is a second-year flower. We transplanted its bulb when we moved here 12 months ago. It bloomed earlier last year, around Easter time, with one large, pure white, bell-shaped blossom. The plant must like its new home beneath the live oak. The soil there must be good and rich. This year, the lily sprouted 3 beautiful flowers. I'm going to pause there and check to make sure we're broadcasting properly or recording properly. Okay, Harley, you gotta hush up. We'll go back inside. Oh. We'll read. Okay, this is take 2, I think, yeah. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Wayne Hampton, Sr., the sole owner, proprietor, worker at SunshineDixieland.com. Go back inside. Oh, I gotta let the dog inside. They're right there. You can go back inside. It's a little warm out here. Yep, I know. Who's also responsible for the content on SunshineDixieland.com and the YouTube channel which I use to publish a lot of my writings, music, poetry, drama, and prose. Been doing it since 1992. A few years before we had the World Wide Web. But I started on the web in 2003. Oh, in the place of my nativity, the place of my birth, Montana, Missouri. I'm a Native American. And according to my DNA, I have DNA of all ethnicities, all, you know, some more than others, but you know, I'll claim them all. And as the ancient writers pointed out, all the human family came from first man, first woman, so we're all brothers and sisters. Our cousins, closest cousins, are the primary. And you know, but the base code for life on this planet, the knowledge, intelligence, and information that was contained in the original seed of creation, that base code is everything that lives and breathes on this planet. That's the immutability, and it's miraculous thing, unique. But anyway, getting back to what I was reading. About the unjust penalty. This is from May 29, 1992. When we first saw the three new buds weeks ago, we immediately named them Abraham, Martin, and John, after three of our heroes. We were somewhat disappointed when none of the three opened for Easter, but our disappointment was soon dispelled when a small miracle, a miracle that most people will probably call mere coincidence, if you stand looking at the lily facing north, Abraham faces the east. He bloomed on May 25th. Martin faces the west. He bloomed on May 27th. Today is May 29th. Looking out the window this morning, we saw John opening his petals to the south. We agree that the directions these blossoms face are random possibilities within God's miraculous miracle of creation. But May the 29th is the birthday of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and the opening of that flower named weeks ago on this morning is to us a miracle worth noting. Jack Kennedy would be 75 years of age were he alive today. We remember him first as a young and strong hero of a strong nation. We remember him second as a capable leader rising in the government of we the people, a leader who would follow the just and righteous course set by our forebearers, including foremothers. Can't leave them out. We remember him last as a great president, a patriot, a man in his prime, destroyed by evil forces within our struggling nation. Those same evil forces destroyed Abraham. They destroyed Martin. They have destroyed others. And regrettably, they will destroy more. We're going to have to take another break. This is take two, redoing take two. First one was too noisy. We're reading The Unjust Penalty from May 29th, 1992, written by Stephen Wayne Hampton, Sr., who is the sole owner, proprietor, and only employee of SunshineDixieland.com for the production of music, poetry, drama, and prose, which we publish also on a YouTube channel, Stephen Hampton. But back to the reading. When we first saw the three new buds weeks ago, we immediately named them Abraham, Martin, and John, after three of our heroes. We were somewhat disappointed when none of the three opened for Easter, but our disappointment was soon dispelled by a small miracle, a miracle that most people will probably call mere coincidence. If you stand looking at the lily facing Okay. Excuse me. If you stand looking at the lily, facing north, Abraham faces east. He bloomed on May the 25th. Martin faces the west. He bloomed on May 27th. Today is May the 29th. Looking out the window this morning, we saw John opening his petals to the south. We agree that the directions these blossoms face are random possibilities within God's miracle of creation. But May the 29th is the birthday of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And the opening of that flower, named weeks ago, on this morning, is to us a miracle worth noting. We're going to pause there because we messed up again. See how it sounds. Okay, we're going to try again. This is take 3. And I'm going to start where I messed up last time. Oh. The Unjust Penalty. Originally written May 29, 1992. When we first saw the 3 new buds weeks ago, we immediately named them Abraham, Martin, and John, after 3 of our heroes. We were somewhat disappointed when none of the 3 opened for Easter. We watched the buds expectantly and tended the plant with special care. And our disappointment was soon dispelled by a small miracle. A miracle that most people will probably call mere coincidence. If you stand looking at the lily facing north, Abraham faces the east. He bloomed on May 25th. Martin faces the west. He bloomed on May 27th. Today is May 29th. Looking out the window this morning, we saw John opening his petals to the south. We agree that the directions these blossoms face are random possibilities within God's miracle of creation. But May the 29th is the birthday of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And the opening of that flower, named weeks ago, on this morning is to us a miracle worth noting. Jack Kennedy would be 75 years of age were he alive today. We remember him first as a young and strong hero of a strong nation. We remember him second as a capable leader rising in the government of we the people, a leader who would follow the just and righteous course set by our forefathers, our forebears, which includes our foremothers. We can't leave them out. We remember him last as a great president, a patriot, a man in his prime destroyed by evil forces within our struggling nation. Those same evil forces destroyed Abraham. They destroyed Martin. They have destroyed others, and regrettably, they will destroy more. We cannot help but wonder, if these 3 great men were here today, what advice would they give us to help this nation in these trying times of division, dissension, and uncertainty? But of course, we do have their advice. And I suggest that our present leaders, and all we the people, Take down our volumes of history and read the counsel. Study the wisdom of these great men of sound judgment. In that heritage we can find real strength to weather the present storm and all the storms to come in this nation. Happy birthday, Jack Kennedy. May you rest in eternal peace, secure in the company of other great men and women patriots. Because of you, because of Martin, because of Abraham, this nation is a much greater nation. We of this generation need only look to our heritage to realize and utilize the strength of that fact. The great strength of Abraham, Martin, and John. Those brave leaders paid the highest price in service to this nation, to this country, our country. The penalty they paid for that, for being great leaders, was an unjust penalty. We the people perpetuate the injustice as we continue our petty bickering. We play into the hands of those who benefit from our discouragement. We must overcome our own discouragement. We must bind up and heal the wounds of division, dissension. As Jack Kennedy would say, in the final analysis, any other course of action would be unjust and unacceptable. And we're going to pause there. Take 4, the unjust penalty. Afterward, May 31st, 1992. On the morning of the 29th, when I saw the third lily blooming, I immediately took pen and paper and wrote the above true story, adding my thoughts and convictions about the 3 namesakes and about the state of our nation. Realizing that the first flower to open, Abraham, would soon begin to wilt and fade, I got out my video camera and filmed what the story described. I read the story as I filmed. It was then time for work, so I quickly dressed and left without reviewing the film. On my way to work, I began to worry. The camera hasn't been used for months. What if the take wasn't good? Why didn't you take some 35mm stills? The 3 blooms will only be perfect today. Tomorrow, the first will be wilted. When I arrived at work just in time to make my punch on the time clock, I asked the dispatcher, Bob Davis, good man, do you think you can get by without me today? He must have read the worry on my face, not knowing what it was about. He replied, well, Steve, if you have something you have to take care of, go ahead. I gave up a day's pay to film lilies. My wife commented, Stephen's middle-aged craziness is in full bloom. When I wrote this, I was almost 40 years old. In spite of passing, we had problem after problem in filming that day. Our camera messed up. We took it to a shop and reviewed the film we had. It was bad. We called some friends until we found a camera we could use. Unfamiliar with that camera, the takes we ended up with were not as good as we wanted, but we did make the video. In spite of passing motorists who shouted and honked, in spite of a neighbor's weed eater making noise, in spite of late afternoon clouds and drizzling rain, which became downpour, this is in Florida, we filmed the unjust penalty on Jack Kennedy's birthday. When we finished filming and taking pictures, it was 5:30 p.m. Thinking that a local TV station might want to use some of what we had done to remember Kennedy's birthday, We took our home video to a station and asked for a reporter to review it and hear our story. They were not interested. It was not an accident. It was not a fire. It was not a beating. It was not a shooting. It was not a lot of things. In other words, they did not have time for stories about flowers named after great men, or stories about dead presidents, or stories about people like me who really tried to make a positive statement and do some good. This old poet wonders, and I'm much older now and still wondering, will the media ever have time to accent the positive as well as the negative in humanity? Will it do any good if they try? One thing is for sure, we will never know if they continue to emphasize destruction and degradation. However, when all is said and done, it is the responsibility of we the people to be positive and good, regardless of what the media does. Until next time we have some middle-aged ravings to write about, we remain sincerely yours, Augustine Hampton Hunter, which is obviously a pseudonym. And here's the lilies. There, the 3 lilies. And this is my son Harvey. He was very young and he was fascinated by what his daddy was doing, and he drew the tree and the lilies. And until next time I have something to talk about, I hope y'all have a good day. Thank you for listening. This is SunshineDixieland.com, and everything's going to be all right. It always is. It always corrects. But it's up to us. I love all you guys. Toodaloo buckaroos.